Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the table. By the mystery of the great Wa, whatever you want to call it, we're all here together and we're linked. So please take a breath, keep your mind as open as you can with the intention of good messages for our higher good coming through. That's always the case. I think it's important to sometimes just reset that intention. The analogy that popped into my mind today, partly because I have balance issues, and particularly lately, was mountain climbing. Where the next step is really important. You have to plan the next step. If I get tippy, what can hold my weight? What do I reach out for? That you look up when you're climbing up. Just keep your eyes on the prize. You look toward the place you want to go. I think that's a good analogy too. Don't look down, look up. That you have pinions, that you drive into the cliff face, so that you can ascend with something that can hold your weight. You're not driving the pinion into a bunch of crumbly crap. You're linked to other climbers often, so that takes great cooperation, because if one of you goes and you're all tied together, that's not good for anybody. And then there's the descent back to the base camp. And I think one of the things that's chronically overlooked in mountain climbing, and perhaps in the analogy too, are the Sherpas. They're like the ones who lead the way, who say, this is the path we can go. This is where the snow is dangerous. I'll carry the stuff. I'll carry the weight. You get to the summit and plant the flag and be the hero. But who's really the hero? I think the Sherpas are. And getting back to base camp is sometimes tricky. As tricky as going up. This is the first card out. 9 of Cups. That can be a card of self-love. It's the 9. It does show the 2 doves here. So it's, I think it speaks to the idea that when you love yourself, you can love the other person. There's this one dove kind of cozying up to the other one. Cups reference feelings and connection. And it might be something like that, being linked to the other person. That can be an advantage. It can be a disadvantage. You don't want to be too codependent. You definitely want to cooperate, but you got to make sure, to keep yourself safe and the other guy safe. It's a really tricky balance. It's all about balance. Tell us more about this 9 of Cups. This energy of love and affection that maybe springs from, Ace of Wands, love of the self. Aces can speak to the self. This is a life force ignition. 9 speak to the personal, and so do aces. And it might be some kind of relationship that's heating up. It's hot. It's sparking curiosity. It's sparking a new direction, lighting a new path. Empress. It always cheers me up to see this card, because Empress is divine feminine. It's fertility, fertile ground. Taurus and Libra, but Taurus is an earth energy, fertile ground. See the rabbit? It might even refer to a literal pregnancy, or to a relationship that is good for you and good for the other person too. And it may be just beginning. It may be just the opportunity for it lies ahead. You know, directional wands, lies ahead. Somebody may be approaching divine feminine. You know, they've kind of picked a path and they're inspired to do it, wands energy, to make the match based on self-love and love of the other person in balance. Tell us more about this divine feminine who loves herself, who is grounded, who is balanced, that Libra energy, Taurus energy, and is real. And we have under 9 of Cups, Hierophant, another card of Taurus, Earth energy. This can be the hierarchy, the belief system, the lesson. It can be traditional. You know, it can speak to legacy and something that, you know, is long-standing. Pentacles can speak to time, so something that's established and long-standing. But there's the key there. You know, it's kind of like the sacred knowledge that unlocks our idea of the divine within and the divine in the other person. The connection to somebody that awakens this. It's like the summit. It's the spiritual hierarchy, Hierophant hierarchy. This is a major arcana card, so it's sort of like the psyche rising to the task. You know, I can do this. It's a spiritual connection. Hierophant speaks to that. Okay, and under Ace of Wands, we have 7 of Wands. That can be a card of blocking, protection, you know, setting up a boundary because something's trying to grow. And again, that sacred symbol. You know, I can't remember what it's called, but it's almost like I'm seeing it as the fingerprint. You know, some kind of endorsement of growth, but it might entail blocking other concerns or actions that maybe are no longer, you know, viable. Something else is new, is coming in. That's extremely viable, that can grow. Fertile ground, Empress, divine feminine. This divine feminine is really, really, really tapped in. I don't think they're influenced by tradition, even though that's one of the means of Hierophant. They've somehow reached the summit of sacred knowledge. And it takes Pentacles, hard work and time to get there. Solid ground under your feet. Under Empress, you have King of Cups. Water sign. The dove. The doves. I think this is a divine masculine, or, you know, whoever is the loving person, the energy of active love, action, Wands energy, is really prioritizing divine feminine. And it might be internally, because King of Cups feels and feels deeply. You know, might be drawing on that feminine aspect of their character. You know, and that may be a new direction for this person. Could be a water sign. This can be a card of marriage. Higher level commitment in any case. And somebody knows what they want to do, Ace of Wands, and knows how to protect against perhaps influences that would get them off track in that directional sense. I'm seeing Seven of Wands here as a card of prioritizing. And it looks to be prioritizing love. You know, Empress is a card of, it refers to Venus. Abundance. Let's see, under Hierophant, Three of Wands. More fire energy. It's a card of the future, of what might be coming into us, you know, what we've manifested, what we've done to attract something in. That's on Hierophant. We may be attracting in, see the ships are in the harbor, the ship is in the harbor. We may be attracting in a higher commitment, you know, a life partner, that marriage aspect. It's been deferred somehow. And there's something about this Three of Wands. Remember I said looking for the hand hold, the toe hold, the pinion. This is really grounded in spirit. And each movement, wands are about movement and direction, leads us closer to this spiritual understanding, spiritual knowledge, spiritual lesson, perhaps even a marriage. King of Cups, Queen of Pentacles. That's a good match. Queen of Pentacles is the authentic feminine principle of caring, groundedness, you know, the real face. So, I'm sorry, you've got the loving divine masculine and the grounded divine feminine. And it may be that this relationship, this higher level commitment, is in the future. And there must be a sense of prioritizing. You know, there's a, you know, some things just won't make it through the boundary. There's a need to protect this growing, it's the iris, it's the bulb, it's the dormant thing that comes to life. Perhaps in the future. Right now it's underground, Taurus energy, also an Empress, underground growth. You know, in the future it will pop into the light, Wands energy. So we have King of Cups, Queen of Pentacles. Okay, tell us about the Nine of Cups, please. Yeah. Hangman. Card of Pisces. Water energy, Cups energy. This can be a holdup, but I also see it as something deeply rooted. You know, it's the kind of tree of life. It takes time to grow. And this is almost like the fruit. The low-hanging fruit. It's the processing of emotions. It's prioritizing self-love as the basis of love for the other. It's seeing things from a different perspective. Sorry. Different perspective. And there's something about the bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. You know, what's right in front of you, what's within your reach. This is a little bit like two in the bush, because it's a card of the future. What will happen, what will come to you, what we have manifested. On Empress, Wheel of Fortune. Another major arcana card. It implies good fortune, the wheel turning in a beneficial direction, you know, and it's sort of increase, of abundance. It's not regressive, it's not moving us backward, it's moving us forward into the future, like a momentum is building up. Divine timing, it's now. The opportunity, anyway, is now. There's something about seizing the day, seizing the opportunity. And I think this suggests getting to the summit and back down to base camp. You know, the full cycle. All the way up on the wheel, all the way back down. And then it'll be up again, and then it'll be down again. It's sort of an ebb and flow energy. Because growth is too. You know, it takes time to grow something. That iris plant, that bulb coming to the surface. Takes time to grow something. But it suggests, you know, this is a good, the wheel is turning, like there's an opening now. There's an opening. On Seven of Wands, Knight of Cups, love on the move, an opening. Things turning in favor of Cups energy, of feelings and connection. This is not the situation where, you know, you're tied, linked to the person and they're going to fall or you're going to fall and pull them down. This is something secure and grounded and open-hearted, and it's on the way. Knights are the movers and shakers. And this person is still on the way, or their heart is still opening. King of Cups is known for being vulnerable and sometimes, you know, protective of themselves. Because they can be hurt easily and they love deeply. But I think somebody may be suggesting or getting the suggestion from Spirit, it's divine timing now. You can move forward. The wheel is turning in your favor. Ace of Wands, Five of Pentacles. That's a card of lack, you know, of scarcity, scarce resources. Remember I said something about this is the fruitful tree where feelings can come to full expression. They're not quite there yet. It's a card of suspension. So something may have held this 3D held this relationship up. There may have been 5 years waiting for this thing to come to fruition, for the feelings to be processed so that they can be full blown. You know, and it's sort of like out in the cold. This can often mean out in the cold, lacking resources, lacking, you know, pentacle stuff, money or security or solid ground. Ace of Wands, that's fire energy. It warms it up. You know, it's like warming your hands by the fire. And that delay, it's happening in the future, is echoed by this. Divine timing. It may be that, you see the dice are there. You know, it's a little bit like a card of chance. But I think that the chances are good for the ascent and the descent, for the wheel to turn. One more. Is it this one? Knight of Swords. So, Knight of Cups, love on the move. Knight of Swords, perhaps a message. Swords speak to speech, understanding, clarity. This individual may be coming in with a message to say something that clarifies the situation. What's this Knight of Swords going to say? Six of Wands. It's a card of victory, and I see it here as a card of the weave. See the victory wreath? But there's a weave here. You know, a weave of two people. Weaving their lives. Pentacles energy speaks to life and time. Weaving their hearts. Seeking a place to stand. The weave is also, it's victory in Wands energy. So whatever was done got us there, directional aspect of Wands. And this Knight of Swords may be coming in to say, we can do this, Wands energy. It could all be about Empress, but I think since there's the King of Cups here and the Queen of Pentacles, which echoes Empress because it's that Taurus aspect of Empress. So we have major, leveling up of a commitment. Perhaps somebody breaking through a boundary because it matters. They're drawn by their feelings to do this. They want this higher level of commitment. They want the weave. They want the weave, which is both parties being checked in and on board. Six of Cups. So we have the Seven of Cups. Do we have the Seven of Cups? No, Seven of Wands. Six of Cups is a card of the soulmate, of reciprocal love, of the weave. That's what we're going to do. We're going to perhaps do it again. This could be a kind of past life relationship. Not the first time around the block. Big wheel keep on turning. Six of Cups and Nine of Cups. So personal self-love and love of the other. I think that's, I'm glad to hear that. For anybody for whom this resonates, I hope good things are on the way. On the basis of what you've done, you're aligning up with somebody. Mutual love, mutual affection. Six of Wands, Six of Cups is 12, which in Major Arcana is Hangman, right here. The card of processing the emotions, taking the time to allow something to grow, to allow it to grow. Here it is sprouting. It's almost like it's been dormant a long time. And here it comes. Directional, here it comes. The ship is in the harbor. You've manifested this. On the board we have Hierophant, which is Taurus, Hangman, which is Pisces, Empress, which is Libra, Taurus, Wheel of Fortune, which I don't think has a astrological reference, but it does indicate a beneficial movement forward. Movement forward. And it's not quite here. There's been a bit of a suspension. But I think that, it looks good. It looks good for the home team. Okay, Divine Feminine, very prominent here. Highly spiritual connection. It's really loving. If somebody was left out in the cold, it's warming up. Five of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. And if this is past life, it's coming back around. There's a new iteration of the connection. things are moving toward something more loving, something better, something more abundant. You know, it's not Five of Pentacles, it's Empress. Ultimate abundance. And it's now low battery, so I don't know if I can click us off. I'll try to sign off. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. No, it's not letting me. Hang on. I don't really want to sign off, but I think it's time. It's divine timing. Thank you guys very much for joining me here at the table. I hope to see you again soon. I hope to be here soon. And yeah, blessings. Moi, as my granddaughter says, moi.